Like so. All right. You come to Russia in a time of great promise. The nation strives to grow its economy, society, and territory. I don't know what kind of accent I'm doing, I'm sorry. You have been given the task of designing a railroad that will cater to the varied needs of Russia. Russia? Ruskies. Your first priority will be to connect the major western cities that will act as the beginning to the Trans-Siberian rail line. Once this task is done, shift your focus to creating an extensive rail network to move resources to northern Russia and aid in the transportation of troops and military goods. So the troops and military goods, that's the hard part. You only have 20 years to meet the following goals. Good luck. So for bronze, okay, so basically there's a bunch of cities we have to connect. St. Petersburg, Moscow, Kiev, Saratov, Odessa, and Astrakhan. All right? Ultimately, we're gonna want to connect all those 7 cities together. Additionally to that, we want to haul crap tons of troops and a fairly hefty number of weapons as well. There are no other special conditions. We can build in any order, anywhere we want. We can start as many companies as we want, although there's no point in doing it. We don't have to meet any sort of profitability goals in any way whatsoever. Alexander II thanks you for your promised effort in building the rail system for Russia. He is also concerned of the lack of Russian industries, however, and has come to you with a proposition. If you can generate an industry profit of $4 million in 10 years, he will award you with a large government stipend. However, if you fail, then your company will be charged a penalty that will be used to help other businesses along. What do you say? Of course I can handle one more task. I'd be happy to help. All right. We're paused? Yes. All right, good. Here's the map. We are currently oriented to face north, which is great. Yeah, very good. Yeah? Da. Da. That's the extent of my Russian. Da. Niet. Yeah, that's probably it. So here it is. It's actually relatively flat. There's some sort of bumpy bits, but we don't actually have to deal with any true mountains anywhere at all. That's part of the reason that makes it very level, or very easy to work in. Some of the cities are relatively far apart, so our construction costs are a little bit high. But I mean, Moscow is ginormous. It's a 3.5-star city to start off with, and it will grow very quickly as we start to funnel in some more goods. Let's go ahead and start a new company right away. We're going to invest as much personal money as possible. Napoleon III, of course, is a very generous patron of Russian economy. Anyway, yeah, we'll invest as much money as we possibly can. What are we going to call our railroad? Oh god, guys, I'm going to need some help. I'm going to look for an icon right now while the chat explodes and tells me what I should call the railroad. I should use, like, the fleur de lis. I'm Napoleon, after all, right? It should be some sort of, like, French railroad company name with the fleur de lis in there. That is the fleur de lis, isn't it? Something like that. Plus, the blue really stands out quite nicely from the green background, so it makes it easy to see everything. Come on, chat. I'm counting on you guys for the name. Name me a railroad. The ruble. Gulags. Napoleon is oligarch oil tycoon. The Great Soviet Road. Da Railroad. Brussels, yes, of course. The New Russian Railroad. Actually, I kind of like that. The Babushka Express. Winner. Babushka Express. There we are. Boom. Done. Excellent. All right. So, first of all, we've got all these cities to connect, right? So it tells you all the cities that aren't connected. I mean, ultimately, we want to get them all connected, so it doesn't really matter which ones we start first or whatever. That being said, St. Petersburg and Moscow are very good moneymakers. St. Petersburg, while it's very isolated from everything, right? This is really far away from Moscow. That's a lot of rail to build. Tver, or whatever you call this place here, is microscopic, hardly even worth connecting, although we may do it at some point. We've got Nograd, which we could build through on the way. What does it have? It's got a lumber mill. I guess that's a kind of a thing. But other than that, they're pretty big cities. Connecting them makes some amount of sense, perhaps. And yeah, so that's the problem. There's some really good sites, but they're so far apart. Novgorod over here, or Nizhny Novgorod? Nizhny Novgorod? Oh my god, this is going to be terrible. Is pretty decent size, and again, will grow very, very quickly. So that's one thing, but the other thing we have to consider is the fact that we do want to make sure we get to our $4 million worth of industry profit, which is not that hard to do as long as you buy any industry whatsoever. But one of the ways to actually make the most money early on in Railroad Tycoon is to just buy industry. Like, ignore railroad, buy industry. And so that's definitely possible. For example, if we load up our overview mode and we check, say, logs, right? There's a lot of forestry in the north over here. And very little actual lumber mills. This is one in Nograd, and if we click on it, it's probably worth $1 bajillion. 2.3 million to buy a lumber mill. We could also build one. For 1.5 million. So we could actually save a couple of bucks by building our own. And there's actually enough lumber going around here that we could very easily build 2 of our own, plus buy that one maybe at some point. If we go back over here, we could build a lumber mill in St. Petersburg, actually, because it's got a logging camp basically right in it over here, and we might be able to convince these logs to go over there. But it also means sitting idle for quite some time while we wait for the logs to show up in different places. Where's Moscow? I've lost it. Oh, there. Okay, so there's no actual lumber nearby. Is there a city over here? No. We could potentially build a lumber mill in Smolensk. It's small, but the lumber mill would turn a lot of profit. And so what it would do, we'd basically sit idle and not do anything for a couple of years. Maybe even 3 or 4 years. Do nothing, but let our economy, our industry kick in, turn a profit. Then we would use that money to build our actual railroad. It'd be easy to accomplish the side quest, but it would slow down our moving of troops and weapons. We should actually take a look at the troop thing. Right now, I don't think we've got any troops anywhere. Now, if we let the game run for a couple of months, it's possible that there's some barracks in some of these cities that will produce troops. Right now, we don't have any, so that's a little sucky. Weapons is the other thing we've got to move. There's a weapons factory in Novgorod. I believe we're talking about Moscow over here. Yeah, so there's a weapon factories there. And here, oh, and these sink points, these are probably barracks, or they might be warehouses. Okay, they're warehouses that are sinking the weapons. So we are definitely going to want to connect these weapon factories relatively soon, just to start shipping the weapons around. But we also have to make sure that they're actually hooked up with the goods they need, which is what? They can use, either way they've got to use lumber, but then they either need iron or steel. So iron, well, over here we've got some sources of iron, and in the south quite a bit. And then steel, well, right now there's actually no source of steel whatsoever. That might be the thing to build. Got iron down here, which is just, it's not being sunk anywhere, it's just moving somewhere. What's the other thing? If we want to make steel, we probably need iron and coal, I suspect. Doesn't tell me here, but I'm sure that's true. So we got iron here. Where's coal? Coal there. We should be able to, like, anywhere along the river, or potentially even in Kharkiv over here. We could build a steel mill. Might be a really good way to make money. Iron over here. Any coal over here? Not as much. I mean, ideally you'd like it set up so that they could make the product without the rail. I'm thinking Luhansk, right here, right on the river. Because the river, it's easier to move goods without rail. So that's another potential moneymaker, assuming we've got enough money for it. It's 2.7 million. We could take out a bond and get that going. So yeah, a few different ways. Or we could literally just start building a railroad right away. Since this is a railroad tycoon, I feel like maybe we should. Even though I really want to make sure we meet that industry goal. I'm thinking we should build the railroad right away and maybe start in Moscow and just connect all these little towns nearby. Just get some little feeder lines that just start bringing things in. You can go Bryansk through Kaluga into Moscow, then go something like Kolomna, Serpukov into that rail and there, so that'll be another sort of train there. Maybe Yaroslav to Moscow, Ivanovo through Vladimir to Moscow, and just get a little bit going. Problem is, none of these places are going to produce a lot of goods. We do have a brewery over here, which we can buy for 1.9 million. There's another brewery over here. There's actually going to be quite a few goods moving around. That's a lot of alcohol being produced, which Moscow will want. You know, I think that'll actually be a really profitable route. We'll just feed booze to Moscow. Seems like as good a start as any. It's fine. Average tunnels and bridges, overpasses on, single track. We'll just use wooden bridges for now. Hopefully we'll switch to steel as soon as we can. So we'll build the rail line right through Moscow. Or Moscow. I know people say it both ways. Moskva. There. Alright, through there. Definitely one big station. I don't know if it matters where we put it. Looks kind of samey to me. We'll drop that bad boy in there. And yeah, let's get the booze flowing. The booze must flow. I think that's going to be fine. In fact, a small might be okay because our only interest here is to really capture the output of the brewery. The big deal with grabbing the biggest one, and I've done more tests, is all the stuff that might like flow by town but not actually come into the middle of it. Then you'd want a bigger terminal to capture that stuff. I don't think it makes much of a difference in this case, and I think we can save a few bucks. We'll go with a medium. We don't need... a small actually does capture everything. We can upgrade it later. Small it is. A small quick train for that? Yeah, I think we'll have it service more than one thing, though. There's no industry at all in Serpukhov, although we could get more passenger transit. That's true. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this rail into Vladimir. It's also not going to be particularly important. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a train that goes Moscow to there, back to Moscow to here. We're going to keep it small, only 4 cars on each load. And go ahead with the Crampton. It's quite pricey, but it looks sharp. It'll get more passenger appeal. That'll be okay. We're running on easy, so we got to start with a little bit more money than we normally would. So we're going to build one nice straight line, nice and green, which means nice and flat. Ooh, a little bit hilly over here. I'm not sure how we can avoid all the bad hills. We can mostly avoid them. Something like that. I think this might actually want a big terminal. What is this? A lumber mill? Goes that way. You know what? I actually will put a big terminal here in Bryansk. That way it'll catch the lumber mill, because I suspect we'll probably actually get some pretty decent trade going back and forth there. And I think a small one will be fine here. So we're going to put a repair facility on one side of Moscow, on the other. Water supply, water supply, water. How much money we got left? We're basically broke, and we haven't bought our trains yet. Awesome. That's what I like to see. Issue stock twice. And we'll take out 11% loan. It's risky, but I think we'll be alright. Water. Okay. Oh, we do have one train. I forgot about that. Definitely we want a dedicated train that goes Moscow to Bryansk, because it's kind of far. We'll keep everything maxed out again. And I guess we'll run a train from Moscow to Kaluga, which might want to get a little bit more goods. Later on, that is going to be in pretty high demand. Alright, we'll start on a sort of medium speed. So we're loading grain from Moscow down to Kolomna, which is good. Feed the brewery. And we could have brought... Well, we'll probably end up building a brewery. Maybe in Vladimir. Bring stuff up there. Or what we could do is build, like, literally a brewery in the middle of nowhere. Like, right here. Just some little junction point. Just to capture this grain and then ship it directly to different places. It's always a possibility. Going to Moscow with alcohol. Num num, as I'm having a sip of my Manhattan. Orel over here is another brewery. I think we're pretty highly incentivized to get these hooked up. It's such a great way to make some money early on. Kursk has a lumber mill and a retail shop, which wants goods. It's a little bit more bumpy and hilly over there, though, so we might avoid it. I think the next logical step is to extend our rail from Vladimir into Novgorod, also connecting up Ivanovo, that's a V, not a Y, Ivanovo, and a few of these other places, Yaroslav, all that. Ivanovo can be a little bit of a hub between Kineshma, Yaroslav, connect into a hub here, and then run things to Vladimir. That might be a good way to do. And going up to St. Petersburg would also be quite good. Look at the money we're making now, shipping us some lumber. Of course, the first few train loads from any destination is always the most valuable because there's such a backlog, a cost difference between places. If you don't know how it works, the colorized regions show you the price of goods. Red is very, very low. Green is very, very high. So here you can see the price of alcohol is extremely low because there's 2 breweries here and no actual towns. So the price of alcohol is down to like 149 a ton. And then there's some green spots over here. There's a little town here far away from any brewery. It goes up to 210 bucks, the sell price. So you make profit based on the difference of cost from shipping goods from one place to another. And it's mostly handled automatically. You can kind of force the issue, but you usually don't have to. I'm thinking there'll end up being a route that goes from Moscow here through Serpukov into Tula and to Novomoskovsk. Maybe. But we can also run to Kiev quite quickly. Bryansk directly to Kiev. Actually, we'll probably want a train that runs directly there and then feed in these other little towns down to Kiev because it's another pretty major center and a good potential for making money. We're already turning a pretty good profit, which is nice. Our bond rating sucks, but will improve quite quickly as we continue to turn a profit. I think for now, I'm just going to hit play. Well, we have enough money. I really should just build another connection. I don't think I can get to Nograd, though. Well, I say that, and apparently I lie. We can, even with a bridge. Damn. That's pretty appealing right there. We do want the biggest station to make sure to capture everything, which means now we'll be broke. Which is a little silly because we're incurring expenses. Come January, we'll be able to sell some stock again. So we'll be able to raise a few funds that way. I suspect our investors will be okay. I think our stock price will go up. And then we can get decent money from issuing stocks and hopefully get another bond. There we go. Increase their salary. And that's all based on stock price and things. I don't need to really manipulate stock prices, but I'm going to go ahead and do so. I'll buy a little bit of stock on margin to bring the stock price up and then issue some stock. It hurts my personal wallet. So this is me. This is my person and the stock I own. We're not going to have to do any stock market manipulation here other than potentially increasing the stock, the price of stock so that we can issue bonds and make more money. I'm going to create a train that goes between Vladimir and Novgorod. And I think I'm going to get another one that goes directly from Moscow to Novgorod. Now, I do still need to build our little water depots and whatnot. I'll start with the water. We'll get a maintenance shed once we get a little bit more money. And we didn't actually build a station in Zerkinsk. Can I buy a vowel? Oh, good. The economy has improved. We're in prosperity rating right now, which means we'll get more money per load. Also reduces the base interest rate. So we're still, I'm not going to issue another expensive loan, but if I can get it down to maybe 7%, it's worth doing. We've got another brewery here to connect. We've got a whole like alcohol-based economy. Cheers. Choo-choo. Got a water station there. I think I'm going to build another one sort of here-ish. There's that train. Grain, alcohol. Right, so we've got the money-making formula down pat. We do want to get an industry going really, really soon, though, because it's really important that we get that $4 million target. Because it'll be a pretty good bonus. And the penalty otherwise is nasty. So I think I'm going to connect this town. Maybe the local, the Vladimir. Yeah, that makes sense. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah. Boom times ahead. Oh, that's fantastic. Hang on. Pause. I'm going to remove that. So we're going from Novgorod to Zerkinsk, whatever, to Vladimir, to back to that. There we go. Nice local train. And then the other train here, this Moscow to Novgorod, we're actually going to make an express. Even that doesn't make any sense. We'll have it be in normal capacity. We could make like an actual passenger train later on that's an actual express. Although this local that's going back and forth won't actually get any service. It's not a problem now, but I'll probably forget about it. So let's go ahead and build that service station now. Make a decent amount of cash. So we may not want another brewery because we actually have a lot of it. Demand for alcohol may not be that high, but the fact of the matter is the potential profit is so high. We could potentially cut into our train profit by building another brewery, but the industry itself will make tons of money. What else do we have that we could potentially make money with? Do we have cotton? We have a lot of cotton sinks. We have a lot of cotton supplies in the south. So we could build a textile mill in the south. There's lots already traveling on the river. If we dropped the textile mill here in Zapo, we would intercept some of it that's already going north into Dnipropetrovsk. I apologize to any Russians that I'm butchering your city names. But that would actually be really convenient for us, and that would be a pretty good money-making industry to start off with. It might not be all we do. I mean, building more is always good, because, like, industry is massive moneymaker, especially if it's getting supplied by the right goods. And if you're then hauling away the finished good, and therefore keeping the price of the finished good a little bit higher in the area. If it's not getting hauled away, the price of the finished good will go down, and then the industry will turn less of a profit. All right, they still are very happy with my performance. Income statements. Mostly making money from freight, mostly alcohol probably, which doesn't surprise me. The express revenue will continue to go up as you connect more things to your empire, because then passengers will have more places they can go. But at the same time, your freight industry usually goes up as well. We have no industry profit yet. We definitely have to get started on that, like, ASAP. I love the Babushka Express. That's great. So we have negative money, but we have effectively total, because the stock prices keep going up, so we're going to be fine. All right, so we played for 2 years. Can we take out a decent loan yet? 8%. It's not bad. We can issue slightly better stock in a second here. Come on. There we go. Got a little bit more cash. So that's not enough for an industry. We're really going to have to take out loans. So I'm not going to spend any money right now. All our trains are all making relatively profitable runs. Good. So we're going to wait for a little bit of cash. Actually, mostly we're waiting for a little bit of... We got an oil well in Samara. Oh, that's a million miles away. We got a little bit of cash. The more cash we get, the better our credit rating will improve. Actually, I'm going to pay back the 11%er. We'll get a bit of a penalty, but that's okay. Because my goal is to just get us in a better financial position, perhaps next January, and we will build an industry. Prime rate's down at 5%. If we can just improve our credit rating by a notch, I'd be very happy. There you go, more very profitable trains. Come on, credit rating, go, go. I've got no debt. I mean, other than, like, outstanding stock, but we can... Oh, not merger. Change dividend. We don't want any dividend at all. All the money we make should be reinvested back into the company. Thank you very much. Credit rating may not improve until January. Maybe I should be building more. Nah, we really need to get the industry going. I guess we're going to wait until January. It's going to be our 3rd year. We'll only have 7 years left to make our $4 million industry profit, but I think we'll be all right. Everything in here is like all about time sensitivity. Steel mill in Nograd. Really? That is actually extremely convenient. Although you're very far away from... So you got coal potentially from over here. Steel, please. That's good. Slow down speed. And iron quite far. We might be able to supply your things, but you're not going to make any money for now. Okay, credit rating. A. A. 7% loan. Another 7% loan. Issue stock. Brings us up to 2.1 million. Depends on what we want to build. Because I'd rather take out 5 or 6% loans than 7%, although 7% is manageable. I think the textile mill is the way to go. How much does that cost? 1.2. And actually, there's enough cotton down here. These are all cotton farms, right? I think we could really afford to build a pair of them. Now, in the same place, they'll sort of kind of fight over resources, but not really. If I wanted to be safe, I'd build one here. No, that'll be fine. I'm just going to build one for now. Actually, let's... It's so cheap. We're going to start by building rail. Just so that we don't accidentally put our industry in the way. Alright. Well, let me cancel this. We'll leave this where it is. Textile mill. To south of town. It's going to grab stuff off the river. Get that going. Oh yeah, we are going to want to upgrade it as soon as possible, because right now it can only process 4 cotton per year. Do we have wool? Yeah, lots of wool up here. Bryansk actually would be a great place for a textile mill. I didn't realize that. In hindsight, I would have just built the second one there right away. You know what? We still have credit. Boom. Get her done. I don't think I've ever built a textile-based industry in this scenario. So we'll want to upgrade them both. So there's no cotton over here. No, there's cotton sinks. But it's wool that we're mostly interested in. So it's gone and grabbed all that wool right away. It's like, oh, I will use this. So we're going to want to rush this upgrade, actually, which we can afford now. Because it's going to be able to process the full set of 8 wool right away. And then down here in Zappo, it's starting to collect the cotton really fast. So we're going to do an upgrade right away. Alexander II has abolished serfdom. People celebrate across the nation. Hope soars and cultural revolutions can begin. Interesting. Might increase passenger traffic as well. So I'm just going to wait to get enough cash to upgrade the textile mill. And then we're going to go back to railroad building. Especially down here. That way we can sell our textile. Already turning a profit. It's already like a third paid for. Or a quarter paid for. I was thinking it was different. I was thinking the upgrade cost rather than the build cost. So I think we'll have no problems actually making our goal. Upgrade that stuff. There you go. And then we can further increase the profit of this textile mill just by shipping the textile away and keeping the cost of textiles high. Our stock split, that's fine. Makes clothing. And everywhere that's got a house wants clothing. Our income is improving. Economy is booming. Everything is awesome. Let's issue that stock. And we can get 6% loans. Let's do it. Let's go nuts. Yeah, we got to pay the interest. But we're going to make way more than 6% on our cash by simply building here. In through Odessa. We'll put a big station here. Medium station there. And a big station here. We got a lot of goods we want to capture. And the question is just if we run directly from... Well, no. Definitely we were going to want one train that runs directly... Oh, I hate this spot. Because you can't see Odessa because it's covered. Directly from Odessa to here, 100% we want that. And then I guess we'll build a local. That goes here, to there, to there, to there. Okay. Big money, apparently on lumber right now for some strange reason. And we're going to want to run like every other city will go into Zappo. Well, Donetsk would also make a really good sort of hub city here. Still have tons of money left over. Man, all those 6% loans. It's addictive. Credit is awesome. Let's put a big station here. And let's go ahead and put down the repair and water. And then grab out of that. Oh, there's going to be a bad hill here, sort of regardless of where we go. It's slightly less bad that way. It's going to be a short run though, so it's not going to be the end of the world. Let's extend this out. Doesn't actually matter how it connects as long as it connects. But there we go. We got a nice dock there, which is always good to pick up. There you go. You can service all of that. We'll add some more cars at some point. And we're out of money. Good. That's what I like to see. It means we're doing things. Hey! New locomotive. It's considered ugly. It's good for freight on hills, but we don't really have much in the way of hills. I don't know if we'll really need it. We do need to run a train from Zappo to Donne. So we're going to do that. We'll use the Crampton since it's so much more sexy. Keep that going there. Again, we got the cash. We're just making money hand over fist at this point. But we haven't really started working on our victory condition. We may also need a little bit more industry. I'm getting too excited about connecting everything down here and just making huge amounts of bank. But it's not necessarily the path to win. Our goal is not money. Oops. Connect all this. All right. Go ahead and put one more water there and there for good measure. Yeah, replace the train. Okay. Crampton. There. Get that nice little run going. We'll tell you can do 6 cars if you want. That's fine. Stock is split. Company is doing very well. We got a bonus. We got AAA credit rating. We can get 5% loans out. We're going to do that. We're actually going to repay the 7s. I'll leave the 6 in place. And then basically, I'm going to issue as many 5%ers as I can. Because I always want 5% loans. Oops, that was a 6, but that's okay. Running on nice slow speed now. Let's check our income statements. Lifetime industry profits. We're at 2.8 million. We'll easily make the 4 million that is required. Good. Let's work on our victory condition. The big one is the troop transports. I don't even know if we have barracks down yet. Like, I'm honestly concerned. Oh, no, we do have barracks here. It's because we're not all connected. Okay, that's good. Oh, right. That's Nograd. This is Nizhny. Nizhny? Fuck it. Novgorod Part 2. Good. So, let's go and connect St. Petersburg, which is a victory condition in that we need to connect up the city, but also it's got a barracks. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch. I got money now. I'm going to switch to stone bridges. We'll probably switch to metal once we can do them, like steel bridges. That's fine. It's a longer bridge. I don't care. Well, I suppose speed matters, but... yeah, let's go through Novgorod. I wonder if there's a furniture store here. Furniture, like, factory. Because that's a really good way to turn logs into lumber into goods, which make huge money. Big place. Novgorod might want a big place to capture the wood too, but I don't think it's quite worthwhile. And we are going to need a fair amount of little, like, repair stops here. And definitely a lot of water. It's a lot of distance to travel. Okay. Train. Moscow to Tyver. Tyver to Novgorod. Novgorod to St. Petersburg. Oops, I think I made one of Farley, but that'll be okay. And a direct from St. Petersburg to Moscow. This can haul 6 things. Actually, it'll be 5 things with a caboose. Crampton, and this can be an express, higher priority. And it's starting to convey troops. Good, that's what we want to see. And troops will start to get distributed throughout the entire network. Now, there is something to be said about, because I have to deliver a certain number of carloads of troops. If I didn't do a direct from St. Petersburg to Moscow, I'm wondering if the troops would go from Petersburg to Novgorod, Novgorod to Tyver, Tyver to Moscow, for example, and therefore count as more transits. In fact, I think that's probably the case. I'm going to let this guy finish his route, but then I'll probably get rid of him at that point. We're going to try to avoid... There won't be any long routes. We're going to make only short little local stops. That way we'll get more credit for carloads being transferred about. I don't know if that works the same way with Express, actually. Anyway, we'll go through Kazan. This just makes me want to play some more Europa Universalis 4. As Muscovy, of course. One of my favorites. And now lots of little trains. I'm gonna do one of those. One of those. Why not? We'll go right to the edge of the map. Ooh, a bit of a hill there. That should be okay. Put that down there. And we need to connect Kirov for one of our goals. So we'll go ahead and connect up this way. Like so. Put a big station, why not? Because it's apparently our goal, so I feel like it deserves a bigger station. We don't have any money right now. Kirov to Ola. Kazan to Kirov. Trans-Siberian Foundation finished. The Babushka Express creates a line to the east by linking the cities of St. Petersburg, Moscow, and Kirov. Excitement grows as focused planning for the eastern route can begin. Badam. Do I have a train that goes from Kazan to Yashkar? I don't... Yes, I do. Alright, good. Well, I guess we'll connect up to Glasgow. And it's too bad it cuts off right here, because Edinburgh would just be like, just to the east of Glasgow over here. I know, I'm just trolling. I have to say that because someone's always going to believe I'm serious. So, we're making good money. We just want to keep connecting little cities up, just mostly to bring in more and more passenger traffic. They're not high-value cities, but they will ultimately pay for themselves and improve the network as a whole. But our big financial route right now is going down the east, from Kazan down to Samara, and then connecting up these little extra things to Samara and keep feeding that in. If we really want to continue to make money, we could build a bunch of not hospitals, hotels and stuff. Ooh, hills. Okay, let's head through here. Put in a big station. Make this crazy kind of corner. Ooh, there's no good way around this. Oh, that's horrible. I really should just delete this entire track and try again, but... Fit that in, fit you in, put another watering hole. It's not much of a train route, but we'll put it in. And a bigger one that way. I probably should put more cars on these, but we're going to wait until the sort of number of cars that we need to transport by having just more stuff connected to our network continues to grow. We'll replace you. And connect you up. And Saratov is definitely a big priority. We might get Balakovo in there, not that it's got really much to talk about. I think we're going to cross the river because it's much flatter. Try to avoid building excess bridges for completely no reason. Build this way and go through Saratov like that. Build a big station, medium station. Water, water. Everywhere and not a drop to drink. It's going to be a recession. I don't think that's actually going to represent much of a problem for us. Should be issuing stock every year. I'm forgetting about that. Because it's basically free money since we don't care about our personal value. We'll check at the end of the year to see how many troop transports, or troop loads we've managed to carry around. Hey, a speed record. 20% premium to ride aboard that train. We could even redirect it somewhere else at this point if we really wanted to make some money, but that's okay. I guess at this point I'm just going to keep building. Like, the money is coming in hand over fist. And I knew it would, because I've dabbled with the scenario before. I have not beaten it before. Or, I've not gotten gold on it before. Oh, damn, the game sort of paused. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you plant straight into a house and then you're screwed. You gotta bulldoze a little bit. Five loads of troops. We need 135 for gold. We got 5 million in industry profits, so that part is fine. But I knew that part would be fine. Caucasian War ends. After a drawn-out conflict with Russia emerges the victor in the lands of the East, annexing the land and expanding the Great Russian Empire. There you go. Probably more passenger traffic and all that. We're in a recession, but that doesn't bother me. Our economy is good. That is the nature of this setup. So, let's go through Shakti. A little bit hilly there. But I think that's just gonna... We're just gonna have to deal with that. Go ahead and up the speed. From Donny to Shaki. Make me some money. Thank you. From Shaki to Volgo. Economy crashes. We're in a full-on depression now. Not just a recession, a depression. That actually might slow us down a tiny little bit. Well, I'll buy some of my stock, especially when the stock price is depressed right now. Come on. I know it's a depression, but you can still make me a little bit of money. There you go. Good train. So we're going from... Wait. We're going to Volgo to Volga. Steel bridges. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely want to use those because they're cheaper. Volgo to Volgo. There we go. Now we got quite the bit of a loop. Technically, you can go all the way down. Consolidation 280 is much, much better. We'll probably do a bulk replacement in a sec. You can go all the way from Moscow to Odessa. The long way around. But you can do it now. We're going to want to go the sort of western route at some point here. I didn't connect Rostov yet, so let's do that. Because that's a pretty good spot with lots of stuff. So I know it's lots of little trains. But it should work pretty well. I think there was a reward. Yeah, there's a 300k reward for connecting up Astrakhan. And you might not think it would be worthwhile, but it'll actually pick up a lot of stuff on this river, if I recall correctly. I don't know, maybe not, but I'll do it anyway. I'll do a big station, actually, just to try to capture a lot of stuff from this area. It's probably a little bit foolish. Or a lot foolish. One or the other. There's some passengers and rice. Oh, that was the thing. Because, yeah, we got rice farms here. And I think they might slowly sort of drift into Astrakhan. Not much. They mostly go up the river. But this is the only source of rice on the map. I think you can build a distillery that works on rice on this map. Or is it a brewery? Might be a brewery. Because I think it can work on grain and rice. Alcohol. Yes. So we could build a really nice brewery down here. If we want to make a bit of easy cash. Right now we can't really issue a cheap bond because we're in a depression. I mean, our personal credit rating is okay, but not great. So how much was it? 2 million exactly. Yeah, I'll do that. So I can build it anywhere in this green area and be pretty happy. Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky. I'm like, wait, no, I know how to actually say this word. Hold on a sec. Dostoevsky publishes Crime and Punishment. Alright. Our salary was increased, which means stock prices are still going up despite the fact that we're in a desperate depression. Made tons of money there. Brewery on the other side of the river there. Thank you very much. In fact, we'll go ahead and upgrade you right away. You'll use it. I have full faith. Alright, so... kind of a sharp corner. I think it'll be okay. I gotta switch to the steel bridges right away before I forget. Put a nice big station over here. And a train that runs like that. We should probably bulk replace all our trains with the consolidation. I'm trying to remember, though, there might be the American that becomes available soon enough. And in which case, it's quite a bit better. I mean, will we replace any trains with the consolidation? But, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to get Kiev on board. Run from Odessa to Kiev, probably, and then hook up all the little extra things. This river is going to be a bit of a grade, kind of regardless. Ah, and again, I gotta do the zoom thing. Such a pain. I mean, there's another way to assign them, but... Here, bring 5 and a caboose. There we go. Economy improves from a depression to a mere recession. Kiev and Saratov connected. The Babushka Express extends their rail service to unite the distant cities of Kiev and Saratov. Businesses cheer the availability of new markets. Odessa and Astrakhan joined. Babushka's Express's rail service spans the southern reaches of Russia, providing a truly extensive transportation system for the nation. Industry booms in response. So, everything is connected. Connected. So the big question is, we've got 12 years now to finish transporting all our troops and weapons. We're going to have to force the weapons issue a little bit in connecting the weapons thing to, like, steel and iron and whatever. It's the troops that I'm mostly scared of. There we go. I want to look for that connected times 2. I'm going to use a big one just to capture everything that's on the river. Whoops. Built that in the middle of nowhere. Churn to Bryansk. Kiev to Churn. Stock split. We can issue stocks for more money. Oh, not yet. Credit rating is AAA. Oh, we can get 5% bonds again. I don't know if we need to, though. You know what we need? We need a short break, so I can go. Bio. See you guys in a couple of minutes.